My name is Will Morris, and I am normally doing this from stage, so it's a little different here in this setting. And so the videos and the slides, I'm going to try to cater a little bit more to KW, Keller Williams. But you guys ready? We'll start. So, first question is, who wants to make more money? Anybody?
Yeah.
All right. First, real quick, just off track here already. Look around and what we're talking about today, and seeing you guys here, and the reason why this room is not full to the gills, there should be people lining up out the door trying to get into this. But that just goes to show how little the competition is in this. So just because you're getting started or something like that, don't think that the odds are against you. The odds are actually in your favor because you're actually motivated enough to be here to learn about it. Whereas you have a majority that are too busy to learn how to do this, or don't see the value in it. So get back on track if this will work. I don't mess it up. So who wants to build a lasting business? Something that just continues to go and go and go. I know we got some teams in here that do pretty well at this. They build up and they've got a couple agents underneath them. This is how you do it. What if I told you we all had a tool, and this tool is available for all of us for free? Many are taking advantage of this tool, but the good news, just like I was saying, many of them are using it wrong. Okay? And this tool is social media. Social media has been the single largest shift in modern business, in my opinion. So, who am I? My name is Will Morris. I am the founder of Morris Acquisitions, Brand in a Box, REI University, Trifecta Equity Partners, and we are currently launching a live events company. I'm the author of a published author, 6 months, 655 units, how I broke into multifamily investment with no capital and all social media. National speaker, travel around the country speaking, like I said, from stage. Usually, this is a little different for me. I'm a mentor. I do have a mentor opportunities. And I'm a syndicator, capital raiser, and a JV partner. Now, have you ever heard of the one thing? Anybody? So, Gary Keller talks about the one thing. And to me, the one thing is, what is the one thing that I need to focus on that can impact my business the most? Would you agree with that? Maybe, maybe not. So, I'm going to tell you it's not social media. A lot of people think that social media is the holy grail. However, social media, if you remember, is a tool, okay? And tools are meant to be used. Now, what I'd like to cover with you today, because I would like to give you some sort of actionable advice out of this and something that you can actually take home, is how I use social media to break through obscurity, build authority, and attract my ideal clients, and how this one thing will literally change your future. So, like I said, no misses that. Be able to stay. So, but if you stay to the end, I promise you that you will know what this one thing is. However, I do not guarantee that you'll be able to do this one thing by yourself. Fair enough? Good. There's a 3-step process to this. The 3 steps that this is something I kind of come up with. The first step I call discovery, 3 steps. So the first part is discovery. Second part is how to say it. And the third part is how to use it. Discovery. So discovery is who are you, and what I want you to do, and you can do this in your head or you can do it on paper, I want you to go through your major life event timeline. So what this is if you can just imagine, from the time you were a child till now, what's the major events in your life? What are they? I mean, just kind of, the major ones. You don't have to talk about, the little every little detail, but what are the major events in your life that's kind of shaped you to who you are now? How it's helped you become who you are. And then the second thing is I want you to go through and select or circle those if you're writing them down, and select the ones that have impacted you the most. What are the ones that really mean a lot to you? I come from a divorced family. That means a lot to me. It's affected me in a way that I am, how I am as an adult, because as a kid I went through that experience. So, the second part of this is how to say it. Okay? So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to learn how to share this. And the first step of that is your experiences. You take those major life events that you have, that you selected, in your timeline, your life timeline, and I want you to think back. You can write it down, imagine it, whatever. It's really good if you can kind of write this down and go through sort of what it felt like. Was it happy? Was it sad? Was it was it pain? How did you experience that? What was it like for you going through those events? And then again, the second step of that part would be to document this. And I really recommend video, even if it's a personal video. You sit down with your phone, start recording, and just kind of go over. Just kind of you got to get it out of your system. You got to get it out of you. And I want you to remember this, that you're going to use this, because this is truly your greatest asset. All right? So what I mean by that is that we have now, through that simple little exercise, laid the foundation for your personal brand. Now, personal brand, what this does is it distinguishes you from everyone else in this world. All right? How many agents are in MSA here? 5,000, 4,000? I don't even know how many. 5,000? 5,000 agents in this. So let's take agents, for example. You all go get the same licensing, correct? Is there any different licensing for if you're in North Knoxville, South Knoxville, Johnson City, or Chattanooga? The licensing is the same. It's for the state of Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. So how do you, when the licenses are the same, you're allowed to do as much as you want or as little as you want, when that part of it's the same, how do you distinguish yourself? And you do that by branding yourself. It's your personal brand, okay? And so it's a proven fact that two people can be at the same place, at the same time, and see the exact same thing, but have two total different experiences. And so why is personal brand so important nowadays? Why is it so important? It's because people do business with people, okay? And so when you're out there trying to sell your service or your product, you're not just, your customer, your client is not just buying your product or your service. They're also buying a part of you. And again, this is how you distinguish yourself from everyone else in the marketplace. So what is personal brand? The exact definition of personal brand is that it is the ongoing process of developing and maintaining a reputation and impression of an individual, group, or an organization. So now you have your foundation, and you have a tool called social media. This is what I call the perfect storm. And the reason why I call it the perfect storm is because social media is nothing more than distribution at scale. And so if you can figure out how to do your personal brand, who you are, where you come from, who you stand for, what you believe in, why you say what you do. I mean, I grew up on a farm in eastern Kentucky. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I sound pretty country. So, that's where I come from. And that's, you got to learn to embrace that instead of hiding it, because that's unique to me. Not everybody grew up in the same location that I did. The majority of people did, because it's a little small town. But that is the perfect story, because what I can do is I can take those unique experiences and take my experiences, how I see, through my eyes, and I can correlate that with social media, which gives me distribution at scale, which allows me to talk to a mass group of people. Okay? It puts you in front of the world. It puts you, I want to say that, you in front of the world. At the touch of a button, you literally have the access to the world. I mean, if you get out there good enough. But I'm sure most of you have probably tried using social media. Anybody here ever tried social media? Like, going live, doing posts, standing in front of a house? Nobody tried it? Yeah. Okay. All right. That's like, man.
Just ashamed.
All right. So most of you have tried it. However, I'm sure you probably failed at selling on social media. And why do I say selling? And that's because that's what most of you do. I don't mean to beat you up over this, but most people get on social media and they think that if they get on there and talk about their house, that the people are just going to come by the flocks and come by their house, that house that they're listing. But the problem with that is that your listing is no different than anybody else's, because you all have the same license. You're competing against 4,999 whatever other agents in the marketplace about your listing. Social media does work. I'm sure you guys probably heard this before. Social media does work. However, you don't know how to work it. And that's what I'm talking about, is that everybody wants to get on there and it's all about sales. However, social platforms are more about marketing. I seen a picture the other day on social media, and it said something about, I don't know if you guys seen this or not, but it was a guy, and he said, need a ride. He's on a hitchhiker on the side, and he said, I need a ride to Florida. Need a ride to Florida. And then and it said selling underneath of it. And then on the side of it, it said, I need a ride I need a ride home for Christmas. And it said marketing. Now, who do you think is more likely to get picked up? You know, it's the guy saying doing the marketing versus selling. So it's the same principle, is that if you are on social and you are talking about your listing and you are talking about how great it is and the walkthroughs and this and that and everything, you know, some people are going to find that valuable. However, you're not distinguishing yourself. There's no unique value there. And people on social are not there to, people are not on social to, you know, be sold to. They're there to look at cats and dogs and cousins, aunts and uncles, whatever. They're not there to buy your listing. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to change it into this a little bit because, like I said, this is for the state. And also, this being a shorter, like a smaller group, I also want to do some Q&A, if that's okay with you guys. Maybe give you some live examples on how to implement this into your day-to-day. So, I'm no different than you guys. I struggled with this for a while. And I used to see these gurus with these badass videos with the lights and this and that and just the cut-throughs and all this production that really grabbed your attention. And I thought to myself, if I only had my own creative team, then I could become the authority. And I want to stop here for a second because becoming the authority is about perspective. I go back to personal branding, but you can actually, you're building your personal brand, you're building authority by doing so, okay? And it goes back to perspective. So why do these videos, you know, who knows who Gary Vee is here? Gary Vaynerchuk, anybody heard of them? Gary Cardone. You know, these are some movers and shakers in the industry, in real estate, social media, influencers. Why are they having these massively produced videos? Why are they putting out so much content? You know, it goes back to you know, the consistency, seeing you, but it's also they're influencing you. Okay, they're building authority in their space. And the beauty of this is that a lot of people think, well, I can't do that. You know, I don't know how to do the production. I heard a comment earlier about was it you talking about editing? You know, it's a lot to learn, correct? And so the thing is, like, you guys are realtors. Do you want to be a you know, creative genius? Do you want to be this new, you know, editing guy who's spending 8 hours your day editing, or do you want to spend 8 hours your day out selling houses, you know, or commercial, whatever you're doing? And but the downside is that you see the value enough to where you know you need to be doing that because that builds authority. Believe it or not, that social media is a tool for today's time. So one day I said, how nice would it be to, let's see, I messed up on that. How nice would it be to basically, you know, document this day, like documents what's happening now, pick up my phone, talk into it, do whatever I need to do, talk about my major life events, my experiences, and then simply upload that to a file, have a creative team grab that, and edit it, do their thing, put it right back in there, and then I have post-ready content. And in addition to that, what if I had a mentor that would coach me on the modern strategies to grow my personal brand? And so I founded Brand in a Box, which is mentor plus a creative team. It's a grab and go full-service personal branding agency. Now, I'm not going to go into a big pitch here because, like I said, it's confusing from stage. But I would like to stop here, and I know it's, you know, it's not, I think it's maybe a 30 or 45-minute deal. But what I'd like to do is maybe stop and just get some questions because I do want this to be actionable for you guys. Before we get into that, I just want to stress about personal brand, okay? That's how you stand out amongst the crowd. That is how I've been able to do everything that I've been able to do, okay? Between writing to becoming a published author, being speaking, the multifamily deals, you know, we've got one back here that we're working with. I mean, these are multi-million dollar deals. When I was starting out, I decided I was going to become a syndicator. I was going to start out. I went out, I had no experience, little capital, and no networking. So when you have that, basically nothing, how do you go out into a marketplace, a new marketplace for me, and distinguish yourself? Say, hey, look, I'm the one that you want to work with. And this is actually how I kind of discovered how important personal branding was, or is. And so I went out into the marketplace. I started talking to brokers. Well, they don't give you time of day because I don't have no experience. I couldn't buy my way into deals because I had no capital or little capital, and I didn't have anybody I could ride on the coattails of other syndicators because I didn't have any network. So what I had to do is I had to figure out how I was going to distinguish myself. And so I started diving into, who I was, what made me, and why am I unique to the marketplace. And once I figured this out, and once I established my personal brand, that's when I was able to go back to those brokers, honestly, I didn't go back to the brokers. I went around them. So I went to social media, and I started putting it out there. I started to, through my experiences, through my videos, through my expression of myself on social media, I started attracting versus chasing. And that's the biggest thing that I want you guys to understand is that you start attracting your truly ideal clients or whoever you're after. If you can do this and you can do it strategically, you will start attracting versus chasing. And so the first way, I was going around chasing. I had no status with those guys. I was nobody. The second time around, once I implemented my personal brand into this and I showed myself, I remember telling them, I was like, hey, look, you're not just getting a deal here, you're getting me. You can go find a deal anywhere you want to, but this is the only deal that's going to come with me. And once you establish that, and the status changes, and so then you start attracting versus chasing, and that's essentially what personal branding will do for you. So, with that being said, watching the time here, any questions? Anybody got anything? I know there's some questions now. You gotta give me something. We're recording this live, so I'm putting you on the spot.
May not be specific to brand, but can you shed some light on, you talked a little bit about being a creator versus your brand. I mean, if your content is just boring or awful to watch, but yet informative, and on the other side, if you have, really great production, but what you're talking about is just boring and absolutely grabs no attention whatsoever. So where do you suggest you kind of meet in the middle there?
Well, what I would recommend doing is, and I don't know if you guys ever heard this or not, but you want to document versus create. Anybody ever heard that? So what that means is that you guys are doing, for me, it's also the fact that I'm busy, okay? I'm busy. I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm sure you guys do too. It's a busy market. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to add 3 or 4 steps in my day. I don't have to be walking and, I got to record a video real quick. You know what I'm saying? You've got to make this integrated. And so by doing that, the easiest way to integrate it is just document what you're already doing. So what you would do, let's just give us some context here. So say you're out at a house, you've got a listing, and instead of going through there, and I'm shooting from the hip here, so bear with me, it may be a bad example, but if you're going through your house, that you're listing, most people's going to go through and talk about the listing, talk about what they're doing. What I would do, if I was in your shoes, I would go talk about how I helped that person, whoever it was, the customer, how I was able to work with them, how I was able to help them, a situation they were in, whether it was good or bad or ugly, whatever. Talk about the situation. People don't care about the house. They care about the situation. I mean, this is reality TV. This is 2020. So what you want to do is you want to talk about the situation, how you were able to help them, or maybe there was no situation. It was your brother's cousin or your cousin or something like that has a house and he decided to let you list it. Well, talk about that. Talk about how you led up to getting that house. Use the house as a prop. Don't use it as the thing. You see what I'm saying? So you want to go in and use the house as a prop, and the people are going to get the context. You understand? People are not that dumb to where they're like, well, if you're talking about how you got this listing or how you helped them and you're helping them through the situation and it's this, that, or whatever, then they're going to know what you're talking about, And the second thing they're probably going to do is they're going to click on your profile and they're going to scroll down and it's going to say agent at Keller Williams and say, this guy's, he's an agent. I see what he's doing now. So, but on top of that, I will tell you this too, that, I don't think everything's post-worthy. You know what I mean? I have to record myself driving down the road. I drive a lot, so that wouldn't necessarily be post-worthy. However, if you're driving down the road, pull over first. I gotta say that, but pull over, and if you have a moment of inspiration or something, post it. That's the thing. It's like you've got to get in the content. You got to get in the process of posting that. And I'll tell you where this comes in too. Is it comes in for accountability, because it's tough. First thing you got to get over is this mental hurdle of everybody's going to judge me. They think that I'm going to, they think that I'm going to not call me a bad name or do this or do that or whatever. The truth of the matter is that anybody that gets on there spends their time to get on there and badmouth you or talk bad about you. They're not anybody that you need to be concerned about anyway. You know what I'm saying? All you need to be concerned about yourself, and as far as how you see yourself, and putting yourself out there. Accountability goes a long way with that, and you can do that by getting an accountability partner. Something that I do, I still do it to this day, is I will set an alarm on my phone for 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., and 6 p.m., and I put on there, post what you're doing, plus actionable advice. And what I mean by that is you could simply say, you could be sitting in your desk and sitting there working on something. Say you're working on a document. Well, you could get on there. You could simply say something. I'm trying to come up off the head of this. I should have prepared some more content. Basically, you could basically say something along the lines of, working on a document here for one of my clients. This happened. Just to let you know, if you are working, it can even be about the document. About the program you're using. If you're using this program, don't hit Alt Delete this. It'll delete every damn thing you got. You know what I'm saying? So you can throw it out there that way. It don't always have to be production level. Okay? Now let's talk about production level, meaning full blown. I don't know if you guys. I guess you guys probably seen the ad that my team created for this one. Did you guys see that with me and Jay and his? No.
It was posted on our site.
I have to do better. But anyway, so it's very modern style, full production. The thing about that is that that's a lot. That takes a full creative team. It's hard for you guys to it's going to be hard for you guys to copycat that without being dedicated to a few hours a day of editing and doing the stuff that you do in multiple days on one video. Not to really kind of plug it, but to plug it, that's where I was at with my career. I was trying to grow. I was trying to build influence. I was trying to distinguish myself. And so I knew that that's the path. We all know that that's a way to get, production quality videos. They get you engagement. They get you attention. They get you, that the biggest thing you guys have if you're not growing your business is not enough people know who you are. And so those kind of videos will get you that attention and that authority that you need. However, it's hard to do it. So that's where I was at, and I was like, look, I don't need to learn Photoshop. I don't need to know Adobe Premiere. I don't need to know After Effects. I just need to know how to be able to do this content, give it to somebody, let them take it, let them edit it, do everything they got to. 2 days later, I get post-ready content back into that file. I grab it, post it, and go. You know what I'm saying? That's what I needed, and so that's what I created. But, yeah. So, any other questions? Come on, I know you got a question. Come on. What are you having trouble with? Something I can help you with?
So this is a version of reality TV.
I don't know if I would compare it to reality TV, but what it is it's revealing yourself, okay? Because like I said, let's just put it in the simplest form. There's 5,000 agents in this area. Why would somebody go with you versus her, versus him, versus him? See what I'm saying? Like,
well, I meant that as a compliment. In other words, you're showing who you are, just like reality TV stars are all. It's all about them. It's not about. Well, you'll hear their opinions of their competitors, but it's.
Well, I'll give you a good example.
It's their personality that you're drawn to.
How you could use this too. This is one of my students, I guess, if you will. He come on the other day, and we always have a discovery call. And so what we talked about through his discovery call, I found out that he grew up being raised by a single parent. His father raised him. They were very poor, and he told me the story that stuck out in him through his life event timeline is that they had to have 2 TVs. They were so poor they had to have 2 TVs. One of them to do audio, the video, the picture, and one of them to do sound, just so they could have picture and sound. He said that they were that poor they couldn't afford one true working TV. And so I told him, I said, here's what I would do. If you want to let's do some content here. I would go to an antique shop. I would find me an old TV that's similar to that. Pull out your phone, stand beside it, and say, this TV reminds me about when I was young. We had to actually have 2 of these because we couldn't afford having one working TV. And I'm not going to give context into what he was going to do, but anyway, from there, I would take it into the fact that basically your story selling is what you're doing. You're bringing your true experiences and your emotions that you felt. That shaped him of who he was. That may not be the story for everybody, and that's okay. Everybody has their own unique stories, but that has shaped him of who he is now and how he remembers that. And so for him, I was telling him to go out, find that prop, find that, you were talking about creating content. Well, this way you can just document your life, and you're using the props so it can kind of be entertaining. But from there, you can take it and say, for you all, if that was the same scenario, you can say something like, look, this is where I come from. We had to have 2 TVs, this and that. What that taught me is now it taught me to care for people, and it taught me to be more open and listen to people and this and that or whatever. And if that's something that you'd like to learn more about, I'd be happy to work with you. Or you don't even have to say that. You can just tell your story. Second thing they're going to do is they're going to go to your profile and they're going to say that you're a realtor. And they'll say, it's that connection. It's that interconnection that you're experiencing with your client. Because like I said, when you start distinguishing yourself, people are not investing just in your product or your service. They're investing in you. And so if you are not bringing any value to the table, then the product and service is a commodity, is it not? I mean, think of it that way. Real estate agents, there's 5,000 of them. That's a lot of choices here. So what you have to do is you have to learn how to distinguish yourself, and the only way that I know how to do that is through personal branding, and that's through my personal experiences. I mean, the speaking, the raising the capital, being able to go out and raise tens of millions of dollars in capital. You don't do that by being a commodity. You know what I'm saying? You do that by being a personality, being connecting with people. Because when you're sitting across the table from an investor and you're trying to get $10 million out of them, they're not very easily to just hand it off to you. So you've got to convince them very hard, and I was able to do that through my personal brand that I built for myself. And so there's also ways to build authority in your space. I'm not going to say everybody should write a book, but they should definitely look into doing something like that. There's some ways you can look at it. There's a thing called PLR, private label rights. You can search PLR real estate. There's all kinds of white papers. There's documents. There's different kinds of things out there that you can buy for anywhere from $7 to a couple $100. You can take those. You can truly put your name, your face, your logo on it, whatever you want to. They are yours. You are buying the private label rights at that point. And what that does is that helps you get that content out there where you're coming to people from an authority standpoint. As an expert, the status changes. When you're an expert, think back when you were young and you were in school. How many times did you really question the teacher? You know what I'm saying? You didn't really question the teacher too much because there's a lot of psychology in this, but they are considered an expert. They're authority on the subject that they're teaching at that moment. So with you sitting down, them standing up, that's a sign of authority. There's a reason why you stand up and speak. There's a reason why they're standing up and teaching. And you don't question them because you automatically assume that they know what they're talking about. It knocks down those beliefs of, does this person really know what they're talking about? I'll give you a fun fact. So I wrote a book, and that book, I wrote it for a reason. And that reason was to help me build authority because I didn't have any in raising capital. I had a meeting with the guy. I was trying to get some, raise some capital for a multifamily real estate acquisition, and sitting across the table from him, and I felt the deal going south. I just felt it kind of losing steam, and I was kind of upset about it. However, I always carry a couple copies of my book with me, and this is the reason why. Because I got real quiet. I felt the attitude change, and I reached around. I grabbed my book, and I said, "Oh, by the way, did I tell you I wrote a book about this?" "Oh my goodness, you wrote a book about this. I didn't know that." I did. I sure did. Here, this is actually your copy. I'm going to sign it for you. You take it with you. That whole attitude changed. Come find out that he loves reading. He always wanted to write a book, but he never did. And he said, because I knew, he said, I started several of them. He said, but I know how much commitment it takes to start and finish something like writing a book. And if you're willing to do that for yourself, I'll partner with you on any deal that you're ready to go with. So to be able to do that, that was a piece of authority that I laid down on that desk that day. And so for you all, you've got to be able to do that yourself. It may not necessarily be a book. It may not necessarily be speaking. You may not have any idea, or you may not have any desire to speak, write a book, or do any of those kind of things. But you still have to distinguish yourself, and the only way that I know to do that is through personal branding and sharing to the world. You got to tell people about it. So, any more questions? I'll try to keep going.
Would you say as far as platforms go, Facebook, LinkedIn,
All of them.
Twitter, Instagram, all
Don't just think social platform neither. The correct answer to that is all of them, because I know guys and gals that look just on Twitter. I know guys and gals that look just on Facebook. I know guys and gals that just look on Instagram. LinkedIn is hot right now. I will tell you that. That's a tip. LinkedIn, you need to be doubling down on LinkedIn. I don't know if you guys have heard this yet or not, but LinkedIn is like Facebook 2012. So you need to be on there if you want to. It's a land grab, is what everybody's kind of calling it, meaning that there's real estate to be had there. If you respect that. But you want to be on all of them. Now, you can, in a matter of speaking, to an extent, you can just repurpose your content, meaning, post something on Facebook, same thing on Instagram. You got to watch it. You need to understand the context if you're wanting engagement. Otherwise, you're just going to be noise. You're just going to be white noise. But if you truly want to take this serious and really distinguish yourself, there's ways that you can do it. You can take a picture and do a certain thing to it that's going to get more engagement on that platform. There's a way you can do a video and edit it in a certain way, or put captions on it. I mean, captions are, I think there's like 93% or something like that of people that look at a video never click on the sound. So if you have no captions, they have no idea what you're talking about. However, 93% of people that look at your video, if you have captions, will read that. See what I'm saying? So there's things that you can do per platform. Now, again, it goes back to how much you want to learn this yourself versus outsourcing it. Something that I will tell you that's helped me tremendously was I used to be a jack of all trades. I used to want to learn everything, do it all myself, because let's face it, it's expensive. You know what I'm saying? But the best thing you can do is you can learn to do what you're great at. But be, through your timeline, you'll actually figure out a lot of stuff yourself, a lot of self-awareness. And once you get some self-awareness and you figure out that, maybe I'm good at speaking, maybe I'm good at on camera, maybe I'm good at writing, maybe I'm good at this or that, maybe I'm good at nothing, maybe I'm good at whatever. But once you figure out what you are good at, you need to double down on that and get rid of the rest, and you're going to see so much more success in what you're doing. Platforms, yeah, that's pretty much the platform. A question?
For engagement,
Mm-hmm.
how long or short?
What do you mean?
On any kind of videos, do you try to keep them cut off to a certain amount of time?
Oh yeah. You want? Again, it goes back to platform, kind of knowing where, what plays best on what platform, so to speak. But the rule of thumb, I've tried my best from a minute to 3 minutes at the most. Usually quicker the better. Nobody has time until you start building a following. So through your branding, and what you're going to do through this branding is you're going to build what they call your tribe. It's people that align with you, that see you the way that you are, and they agree with you, and they might be Cowboy fans, and you might be Cowboy fans, or whatever. Whatever the alignment is, they are going to start to align with you, and you're going to start to build your tribe. So as you build that tribe, that's when your videos can start getting longer. But from the get-go, I would try to keep it short. You just want to be in and out. Like I said, I try to give actionable advice, like do this and this. Like if you're, I don't know, I'm trying to put myself in a real estate shoes here, as far as an agent. If your actual advice could be something like, I got one. I was on it. It's not for a real estate agent, but something for me that I found out really quick that we were doing a walkthrough on about 158 unit multifamily complex. Had my photographer show up, my videographer show up to video us going through it, doing our due diligence, and the owner's representative freaked out. He did not, because it's an off-market deal. Well, it never dawned on me that that would be a problem, but apparently for some people it is. And so for my actual advice on something like that would be, you can trust but verify, so to speak. You always want to at least verify and let them know it wasn't. And come find out it wasn't the problem that I had one there. It's the fact that I threw it on him. If I let him know about it, he wouldn't have had any problem because he just didn't know why we were doing it. Does that make sense? So I would give actual advice. I'd come on and I'd say, golly, this is documenting, not creating. I'm documenting what happened and I'm giving actionable advice. So I would say something like, I can't believe I just did this. I think I've ruined this deal. Had my videographer show up, and it scared the seller off, and now we're kind of back to square one. So if I were you, you might want to verify that with the owner before you do it. Some people say it was common sense to them, but to me, I just didn't think nothing about it because it's my everyday. You know what I mean? But something like that, just, I mean, what was it, 15 seconds you could say that and post it. You know, hashtags are a big thing to help you out. You know, learn how to use these hashtags. You just Google, like, Instagram hashtag, you know, top 10 hashtags. Start throwing them in there. You don't want to be, you know, too crazy out of context, but start using hashtags. Does anybody use hashtags on their stuff? Okay. So you can see engagement out of that. You know, that's. Here's the thing: is that I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but social media don't need anybody else on there, like, giving this white noise. You know what I'm saying? The way you can relate with people, the way you break through the obscurity, the way you break through that white noise is by being unique. You know what I'm saying? Being yourself. Because if you go back to, like I said, you know, me and you could be sitting here, you two could be sitting here right now, seeing me, watching me, same place, same time, doing the same thing, but you two are going to experience this in a different way. You may take home something, you may not. You may take home something, you may not. However, that's your unique vision. You're saying, like, that's your unique experience, and that's how you distinguish yourself. Because you sitting here, when you're experiencing the way you're seeing this, the way you're, you know, the way you're experiencing the way this is hitting you, or it may not be at all, versus the 4,999 plus other agents out there, you're unique now. You see what I'm saying? You are the minority now. You are the one that somebody wants to work with. That make sense? I mean, you got to be unique. You got to distinguish yourself, and you're not going to do that by just, you know, using a bunch of hashtags. It helps, but if you had a video with hashtags, a unique video, unique experience, your opinion. When's the last time y'all give an opinion on social media? You know, a lot of people are like, I don't want to do that. You know, I don't want to say an opinion. I don't want to make anybody mad. You know what I mean? I don't want to. I'm in real estate. I don't want to make anybody mad. But opinions, whether they agree with you or not, it also helps them. You know, sort of. It gives you authority. You know, you're giving your opinion now. A lot of people, even though they might say bad stuff about you or something, if you do give an opinion or give you, you know, kickback, the truth about it is that they deep down respect you for having the gall to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for people to get on social and give your opinion. So, any other questions?
As far as you talk about cross posting, do you have a particular program like a favorite program that integrates all of them? Because you're talking about taking, you know, let's say one video or one post and bouncing it across Facebook, Instagram, you know, 5 or 6 different platforms. And, you know, many of us don't have the money or means to have a team to do that for us. So being able to do that efficiently and get as much exposure on all those platforms, is there one program that you can put it on that will blast it to all?
I mean, they have them out there, but here's what happens when you do that, in my opinion, is that you lose that personable touch. So again, I know it's work. You know what I'm saying? Like there's 2 ways of doing this. You can do it yourself, put the work in. You can do it yourself, or like you said, you can, you know, partner with Brandon in the Box and we'll do it for you. But you know, there's what happens is you lose that. You know, if you're just posted standard. You know what I'm saying? And it works to an extent. You're getting it out there. I mean, the worst thing you can do is do nothing. I mean, I think we all can agree with that. But you know, Hootsuite was one that I used at one time. I don't know if you've ever used them. They're okay, but really, I just like putting the work in. I mean, I still post my own stuff, and I went from using, you know, Hootsuite and all these other different things to literally just going back to just doing it myself. And you know, I'll go to Twitter. I mean, it may be the same picture, maybe be the same. You know, copy and paste the text, but I will. You can add a little special sauce in there. You know what I mean? And especially if you're trying to call somebody out. So you know, say somebody's on Twitter and they're not on LinkedIn, or vice versa. You wouldn't want to use the same thing on LinkedIn if they're not there. You know, you kind of lose the power of it. So, anything else? I mean, got a question. Come on. Where are you at with posting? You doing anything yet, social media wise?
I post stuff on there all the time.
Good deal. Good deal.
Would you say a good mixture of video, content, photos,
Good
or
question.
whatever it is, you're better at writing versus videoing yourself, or you're a better speaker versus taking photography work?
Yeah. I would recommend video 100%, and the reason why is because you can repurpose that content. meaning that out of a video, you can, now you can do it yourself, like I said, you can pay somebody, but out of video, you can pull the audio for a podcast, you know. I mean, I don't know why anybody here does not have their own podcast. You know what I'm saying? That's another authority thing. It's cheap. It's easy to start that. You can pay somebody to. There's even automated services. The accuracy is not real good, but to transcribe it and you put it on Medium.com. Now you're a blogger. See what I'm saying? So out of one piece of content, you can get 3 pieces on 3 different platforms, meaning written, verbal, you know, visual. The video, you can put it on YouTube, put it on Facebook, you know, you put it on the social platforms. But what that does is that your audience they may like to read better. They may like to listen. You know, they may be a busy professional and they like to drive and listen to stuff. Well, if you're not hitting them on all those, you know, meeting them where they are, then, you know, you're not doing your job, in my opinion. And so by shooting a video, you can easily take that and put it into a podcast. There's an app called Anchor.fm. You literally sign up for it and pick you a picture or put your picture up there, and you are up and running podcasting day one. And so podcasts are huge right now. Those are, they call them like a thought leadership platform. Podcasts are also really nice. And I like shows just because, again, you're getting a video. But there's ways that you can go and interview people. You don't have to be the expert on something. You can interview them. You can be the host. You can be they call it being the newspaper, not the article. You know what I'm saying? Like you're the one facilitating it, and you're still going to get that residual authority off of it. You know, if you did a show or you did a podcast, go here. Let's see, we're in Knoxville. Go to Gettysview or something like that, the country club. Find the manager or even a waitress or anybody that works in there, and ask their opinion of Gettysview. Who's going to care about that? The people of Gettysview. Who's your clients? Who do you want to be? If you want to get into luxury, you know what I'm saying? Go down to, what's that pharmacy down here in Bearden? Long's. Go to Long's Pharmacy down there. I mean, try your best to get interviewed with them if you can, but if not, just the waitress. Go down there, get you a $5 burger, and say, hey, look, can I interview you for just a second? Let me get a couple of questions off of you. Video if you can. If you can't, do audio. If you can't do that, just write it out and then do an article. But who's going to review that? The people in that community. I don't know about you, but those people in that community, I'd love to be able to sell their house or work for them. You know what I'm saying? People in that community, up Linesview Pike and all that stuff. I mean, that's huge. So you got to be strategic with it. Go to your schools in the area. What they used to call it, like farming a neighborhood or something like that. Is that what they used to call it? Well, this is kind of like modern farming. You know, go to an area that you want. If you want to work in Farragut or wherever, and if you're trying to get into luxury, go to that school. Try to find a teacher. I'm asking a few questions. Say, can I have a few minutes of your time? Can I ask you a few things and get you to answer your question and just talk to them about what they like the best about school. Get their opinion on it. You're not asking them to sell for you, but what that does is you post that. Again, people in that community that care about it, that's your ideal client, are going to see it. Second thing they're going to look at it and see who you are, who you work for, and they're going to say you're a realtor. They're going to say, he's in our community. She's in our community. They're out here working hard in our community. They're interviewing with our teachers. We're connected now. So now you're starting to build that authority. Again, and through the personal branding, they also connect with you on multiple levels as well. And so then they, who more likely are they to call whenever they decide that they're going to sell a house or buy a house or whatever? It's the person that's in their community that they feel connected with. Make sense? So, anyway. Any more questions? I've been rambling for a while. So, if you guys do have any questions after this or whatever, I encourage you to reach out to. I don't care a bit to talk to anybody and help me the way I can. You can just search Will Morris or Hey Will Morris on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever. Friend me, shoot me a message. If you would like to learn more about our branded box services, it is a grab and go type of deal. So it's mentoring and it's just the creative team backing you to basically, like you said, you can go do your day. You don't even have to worry about everything. We got a couple packages on that if you're interested. So thank you guys for being here for 45, 50 minutes. I know it's a busy market. You guys are busy. So again, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's nice.
Hey, sweetie.
Yeah, well, thank you.
We have
Like I said, it's
done
more
more
different
details.
setting, so I'm not. Yeah, it's just things are a little different. Well, you got, there's different things that go into factor when you're speaking on stage, stuff like that. You've got what they call framing, pre-framing and different things. So like, you got music video and all kinds of different things.
It would have been great if our connection would have stayed.
So here's kind of. I try to keep it going, but
Internet connection.
well, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm telling you, it's you're doing the right thing by trying to learn more about this. I mean, there's a lot of people. I get a lot of kids. I'm 33, so what I've done in my short amount of time here, especially in the investing world and multifamily syndication, I get a lot of kickback from older people saying I'm just a greenhorn. I hadn't done it, but being able to do what I did in such a short amount of time, it really boils down to just being personable. You know what I'm saying? It's sharing with the world who you are, and then on top of that, it's the outsourcing. I mean, I wouldn't dare be able to do what I've done if I had to sit down for 4 or 5 hours every day and edit.
Okay, man. What is the ballpark cost and what do you get for what you offer? Is that on?
We'll go. Yeah, I mean, I can go through it now. I didn't because I didn't. So what we got is basically we got 3 packages right now in under the brand in the box. And the first one is where we do a deep dive into basically your timeline and like who you are and basically building your brand, documenting that process. And that one starts at $500.